Do you have any interest at all in the Black Sheep gotcha mobile game that is Near Reincarnation?
I have a few arrangements already.
Okay, that's exciting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's me nerding out. Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to episode 164 of Rhythm Encounter, the RPG fan music podcast. I am your host, Mike Salbato, and we have a really fun episode today with a guest who has not been on the show in, I don't want to think about it, but almost 11 years. Today we are talking to Schafianski about the sheer amount of great music that you've put out in the last, 8 months? There's a lot to cover here. So hello, Sean. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Joining me on this journey is Patrick Gann.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here chilling with y'all. Hi, Sean.
Hello.
I'm nerding out if people can't tell.
I mean, I am, but quietly. I'm trying to keep it in check and be professional, but I'm really excited about this because every time you release a new album, I'm really excited to hear it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So originally we were talking, I think I first emailed you in December.
Right.
And at the time you were releasing an album about every month. And I was like, hey, you have 3 new albums. This would be great. We can come on and talk about those 3. And then, of course, life and schedules get in the way for a while. And you've released so much more since then. You've just been really busy, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm planning on having at least 1 release per month. So with I have a university job and we're off on summer, so that gives me a lot more time to just buckle down and just bust these out. And so I've been busy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy we have the selection of songs that we're going to have in this episode today, but even that doesn't cover all of it. It's really cool. One question, this is definitely not going to be a exactly normal format episode because we have some questions we're going to throw at you, which of course we did not run by you ahead of time, so I'm sorry about that.
I can improv.
Okay, let's just start here since we're talking about music. Of your recent albums, let's say back to, what was the first one? At least in this batch of things we were talking about, I think it was the Chrono Cross Jazz. For that until today, do you have any thoughts on those? Which ones were the most fun to work on? Which ones were challenging? How do you feel about just what you had in the last 6-7 months?
I think the most challenging was the Final Fantasy VI stuff, just because me and I know the fandom are very, very particular about what people do to our beloved soundtrack. and I wanted to keep it as faithful to the original as possible while also just adding my own flair to it. And specifically Dancing Mad, which we'll hear in a little bit. That is the quintessential piece from Final Fantasy VI. And so that I probably spent the most time on. And it was very, very challenging to layer everything together. But because of that, I think that was the most fulfilling as well.
So that's on volume 3?
Yeah, that's on disc 3.
Yeah.
For the jazz stuff on the flip flop, that's always just really, really fun to put together. It's not super intensive. I'll make a lead sheet, send it out to people. They'll record, send things back to me, and I'll mix it all together. So it's pretty streamlined at this point. And so those are just really fun to mess around with different ideas and different genre combinations and see what comes out of it.
Yeah, nice. I mean, I think it's all turned out so well.
Yeah. I haven't listened to it all, to everything you've released yet. I did just last night finish listening to the Breath of Fire 3 album that you released. And, I think, in my youth, I didn't get it. I didn't get Breath of Fire 3 musically. And I think some of that is like a jazzy album on like 32-bit sequenced audio maybe just wasn't resonating with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently replayed the game, and I definitely like got a better feel for it, like a better appreciation for it. And then I listened to your album, and I was like, yeah, yeah, super yeah, like this is where it's at. But correct me if I'm wrong. You did a previous Breath of Fire 3 album, right?
Yes, that was, oh God, now I can't remember, back in 2014-ish.
Yeah, it's one of your first projects, right?
Yeah, that's just been held up with like rights for the sound recording stuff. And so rather than try to get that one back, and plus the sound is outdated at this point, and so I was like, hey, I'll just redo it and add more tracks.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a big fan of. So yeah, it's old and new from you.
Right.
This official title, what is it? Letters from Wyndia.
Yes.
So yeah, people have got to check that one out. I think that might be the one I'm most impressed by, though. Of course, I have a written review of the Chrono Cross album. I think of all these albums, it's the only one I've actually done pen to paper with, and man, that one was pretty good too. And I think the way you described it, like that you have this process and you know how to, get the lead sheets out to the other performers, and they can, make it all happen without a lot of the sort of painstaking or grueling effort of like the orchestration kind of work that you were doing with Final Fantasy VI. Yeah, I mean, the ease of it all, the we feel good of it all. I feel Chrono Cross does have this sort of feel good vibe to it. Like everyone knows what they want to do and they know how to make it just feel great.
Yeah, there's definitely a formula that we have ironed out and have stuck with. And for the musicians that are local, like my good friend Steve Rothstein, who played guitar on that album, as well as Kyle Thompson, I knew them from college days and still keep in touch, and they're fantastic guitarists. So I'm just like, hey, do you want to come record on this? And they're like, hell yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, they sound great. So I'm glad that you're able to maintain, lifelong relationships to help bring great music out there. And I think, there's a lot of people that do arrange work these days. And so, not to poop on anyone else, because everyone that, if you make an effort, that's worth 10 times more than just a guy like me who writes about people's efforts. But, there, some arrangements are better than others. And, time and time again, I think your work, especially the stuff that I'm more familiar with, which we're not even talking about near today, but your near jazz and chamberworks albums are like some of my all-time favorites. I think they rivaled the official stuff Square Enix was putting out. So
thank you so much. That means a lot.
I think I'm really excited to dig into some of the newer stuff that we're going to be showcasing in today's episode.
Yeah, I will say that more near stuff is on the way. I'm brainstorming as we speak.
Ooh, interesting.
Do you have any interest at all in the Black Sheep gotcha mobile game that is Near Reincarnation?
I have a few arrangements already.
Okay, that's exciting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's me nerding out. Yeah, that's a big one to me.
Yeah, I'm a total nerd for the Nier lore, and so like give me an opportunity to write a dissertation, I'll do it.
Pat did that recently.
I did write up a whole big thing after they shut down the servers on Reincarnation. I did a big write up on what all people missed out on.
Yeah, I read that.
Oh, nice.
Great. Yeah, it was really impressive.
Trying to explain the lore of Nier for people who are like, I want to play it, but I don't know what it's about. And it's like, do you have a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, what I wrote scratches the surface. There's 2 different people now that have put out like hour-long videos on YouTube that are very good. But even those also kind of only scratch the surface. You're not getting into character stories as much. You're really just covering the main characters, the monster and Fio.
Yeah, Yoko Taro is something else.
Well, that's exciting. I'm glad you're doing that. You know, it's so easy to look at like mobile games and be like, not for like just in general. Like you don't always expect them to have like certain quality features or good soundtracks. We were literally talking about that just in our Slack like a couple hours ago, because Pat recently posted a review for one of the Breath of Fire 6 albums, and Breath of Fire 6, somewhat I wish never happened, but musically it's impressive. So I'm glad we have that, and like things like that and reincarnation. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with it.
That reminds me, I adore the soundtrack to Final Fantasy Brave Exvius.
Yeah.
Brave Exvius has some great music. Yeah, when they did War of the Visions, they stepped up the production quality there too. I like the music for when they sort of relaunched with that too.
Yeah. As we record this, we've recorded the episode. It's done. It's not actually live yet, but I think it's
the mobile RPGs episode.
There's an episode, the one before this one goes up is a mobile RPGs music episode. Yeah. So, okay. I actually changed our playlist a little bit. I was actually going to start with the Chrono songs, but since we have talked so much about Final Fantasy VI and Breath of Fire 3, I think those are what we should lead with.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So we're going to jump into Dancing Mad from your remastered Final Fantasy VI, and Island from Letters of Wyndia, Breath of Fire 3. So, especially in the case of Dancing Mad, I think we're going to play a portion of it because it is fittingly 11 minutes long.
Yeah, you took on all 4 sections. You didn't just skip to the part everyone remembers in 7, 8, and all that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's a remastered soundtrack, so you
got to cover it all. And man, we'll get into it. The 4 sections, we'll get into it.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go listen to part of those. Of course, as always, we have links in our show notes to go check out where you can buy the albums, stream them, etc. So to hear the whole song, be sure to look at our show notes. In the meantime, let's go listen to part of Dancing Mad and Island, and we'll be right back.
For Dancing Mad, I knew again how beloved this track is, and it's one of the most listened to tracks, most likely, of anything on the 3 discs of this massive soundtrack. So I knew that I had to be faithful with it, but also not just, copy and paste what was there in the original versus mine. I still wanted to, add my sonic signature, so to speak, to it, and a little bit of like maybe not arrangement, because nothing about the arrangement is different, or the song form, but I wanted to add some of my own like flair to it, and my penchant for heavy rock and metal in that 4th section. So it was very challenging to get all the pieces together and have them fit seamlessly, because I did break them up into 4 sections, and so I would arrange or work on section 1 first, get that to a good spot, work on the second, get that to a good spot, and then try to figure out how they would merge together. so it would sound like the original and not. The original is sectional, but not super sectional, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they transition nicely. I think especially the transition from the second to third in the original soundtrack, because you get that hold on the organ at the beginning of the third section.
Right.
That's easy to transition into from the end of the second.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you held a pretty similar approach, if I recall.
Yeah, and the transition from also where the fourth section repeats, with that iconic Kefka laugh.
Yeah, Kefka laugh is the repeat part. Yep.
Yeah, and so making sure you're coming out of that rock ballad section back into the heavy stuff, making that sound seamless.
Yeah, I gotta say, alongside listening to your track, I was just this last weekend while I was driving, I listened to a Square Enix album, Square Enix Jazz Volume 2. They had their own little jazz series.
Oh yeah,
I think it's still going. They did a Saga one a few years ago, which of course I drooled all over. But they did a Dancing Mad arrangement that was just the end part. But when they got to the loop part, they just inserted the Kefka laugh whole, its original version, and but I think they had like a tenor sax try to follow the timbre or like the tone of the laugh under it, and it sounds really funny. Like, it's goofy. It sounds really cool. I don't know if you've heard it.
I have not. I need to check that out.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool arrangement choice. I laughed.
Like Kefka.
Yes. Well, no, I don't have a good Kefka laugh. Speaking of, though, one of the things I loved about what you did with this track is I only learned this recently in a video from, do you know 8-Bit Music Theory? Do you know Yeah. So he did, of his many great videos, he did a Dancing Mad breakdown a few years back. And one thing that I didn't notice as a kid is Kefka's theme under the organ on the third part, first in a major key and then repeated in minor.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I was a kid, I probably noticed the minor key, but didn't notice that it played in major first. And I think it is kind of it's a little subdued in the synth of like just the original Super Famicom version, and I felt like you really gave that major key and then minor key, like, I just think you can hear it better in your version. It's very clear, it's very robust. I just really dig the way you made that sound. I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that I wanted to sort of emphasize because of the like dichotomy of the character himself.
Yeah.
Given the form of Dancing Mad as a whole, it's very eclectic.
Yeah.
And kind of goes back and forth as, Kefka does in his mental state.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of wanted to emphasize that little bit there because I thought that was more indicative of the type of character Kefka is.
Yes. Yeah. That getting the major key once there's that sort of sheen or veneer of the happiness that comes with a clown in the circus, but the sinister parts coming right after it.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of chaos under it. Yeah. I think over time I've come to appreciate the third section the most, just because it is sort of this neo-Baroque kind of deal, though I love all four sections and of course, love the final section. But I really like what you did with all four sections. I feel like there was a lot of intention in the instrumentation you used and the way you brought out certain things that, again, are, I think what I pointed out is probably the biggest example for me in my listen, but I think there are things all over all four sections where it's like a casual listening of the OST version from, the Super Famicom version, you might have missed some things, and I think you helped bring out those things that Uematsu first penned, that they're just easier to notice, and I think that's really a favor from you to the listeners to just learn more about this piece just by listening to your version of it.
Yeah, I always say it's my hope that even if people have heard the soundtrack many times, that they'll find something to latch onto, or something that they haven't heard before, something that like you said was present in the original but maybe just a bit too subdued to hear it like on a casual listen, or if you're not ear trained.
Right.
But yeah, I've always said that's my hope with these remastered tracks, and especially for people who haven't heard the soundtrack before, to sort of make them go, hey, this sounds cool, I want to check out the game. And so that just leads to more RPG nerds like us.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you did a great job with that. I mean, what you were saying, like even before we listened to the song, like how it's a daunting prospect to do music for this game, considering how strongly people feel for it. Right. Because I've heard so many arrangements and remixes and other takes on it over the years, and it is risky. I can think of some right now where someone rearranged or something, but maybe they were worried about that and stuck so close to the original, it's just not as memorable. So trying to find that balance between making it sound enough like the original so that it triggers that nostalgia in people, but you're still doing your own thing with it. It's just got to be difficult, and you are very good at that.
Yeah, one album that comes to mind that kind of bridged that gap for me mentally is Brink of Time.
The Chrono Trigger album.
Yeah, from I think it was Square Enix put it out.
Yeah, it's the one, the picture, it's like
the bacon
breakfast.
and eggs.
Yeah. Yeah, this was that was the official, I think it was the first album that Mitsuda coined the term the Millennial Fair, which is his group that also did the Xenogears Arranged album, Creed, and
some of the tracks on that are more experimental in nature, and it could have turned some people off, but I was okay with it, and I liked that idea of things are not going to be for everybody, and so whatever flair you want to put into your arrangements, you know that you're not going to please everybody, and you have to complete your artistic vision and make sure that it's what you want, because if you're not happy with it, then nobody's going to be happy with it.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I love that you brought that up. This is so weird again, because another episode that's going up before this one is we talked about forest music, and I brought the Secret of the Forest song from that album, and I'll admit, when I heard it years and years ago, it was not for me. I listened to it, I'm so much of it is experimental, and I don't know, at the time I didn't appreciate it, and I've listened to it again recently, and I'm like, no, this is great. I had to get over that, whatever was in my head when I was younger. I'm like, no, I can appreciate more things now, and it is very cool, and I don't think it's something I don't recall if anyone else on the episode even knew of that album, because it's so old now. It released, I didn't realize this, but I've been looking it up, but it released just after the game soundtrack, a few months later.
It was paired with it. It was the official arranged album right at the time. And I think at the time it was panned pretty heavily, because people really just kind of wanted an orchestral album Final Fantasy VI Grand Finale, or something a little more acoustic and palatable like Final Fantasy IV's Celtic Moon, and instead they got this kind of experimental jazz album, and they didn't know what to make of it.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Back to the Future. It's you guys aren't ready for that yet.
yeah. Come back in 20, 30 years, you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
Your kids will dig this. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's a great comparison.
We want to get into Island.
Yeah, let's do it.
So my first question, because I didn't look it up, and I'm sorry I didn't, is this one of the new tracks for Letters from Wyndia, or is this also found on the previous, the old 2014 remaster album?
This was also found on the older album, but I completely gutted it and just started from scratch.
Okay. So, right, picking the same source tune, doing new things with it.
Yep.
Yeah, that would explain why it was fresh to my ears, because, yeah, I do have some familiarity with the old 2014 album, but I was like, oh, this is I'm feeling real good about it. I want to hear your thoughts though, Sean. What do you like about the original track, and what did you try to sort of bring to the listener's attention with this one?
Well, this soundtrack in particular kind of bridges a gap between my jazz arranged versions and remastered, because yes, they're the same tune, but also I have a little bit more freedom because of the nature of the genre itself, that I can be a little bit more free with it.
It's already a jazzy OST, so you can, if you want to improv or do some decorative work, you're kind of free to.
Exactly. And so I wanted to bring a little bit more of that to it than what I did before for the 2014 album. And also just higher fidelity, better quality virtual instruments. And, I have a better microphone than I did back then. And so I can, record my saxes and everything on that end. Same thing with like the small percussion, shakers, bongos, that sort of thing, just recorded in my studio, layered in with some of my collaborators as well. And then I actually used some AI stuff just to sort of fill everything out and not generate any ideas, but feed it what I already have and go from there, and then mix it in as subtly as possible, just to get the effect of having a larger ensemble.
So like you play, for example, like a lead sax, and it can build an ensemble around it.
Not necessarily even that, because that would be generating players. It's more like adding like harmonies here and there. As well as I use drum loops and drum samples, and so I'll feed it a rhythm, and then just get a drum track to complement stuff that's going on sonically.
And so the idea there with the percussion is you would get instead of the same 4-measure pattern, it can sort of flesh it out to move across the entirety of the track and do maybe accent or emphasizing.
Exactly. So instead of being stuck with a 4-bar loop that just repeats, it can sound a little bit more human. So I will record a 4-bar loop, feed it into the AI, and then it will, just make it a little bit. I'm not a percussionist, so make it a little bit more human than I could make it, a little bit more natural, and extend it so that it can throw in little fills here and there, so I don't have to program everything. So basically using the tool as it was intended to be a tool, and not obviously there's there is a little bit of a controversy around the use of AI, but it's here to stay.
Yeah, the Pandora's box has been opened. You can't pretend to shut it.
Yep. And so as long as from what I think, as long as I'm using it as a tool for which it was intended, then why not take advantage of it?
But the problem with any creative stuff is the fact that too many people are going to rely on it to just build things, to fully create things, or hey, I'm not a musician, but I'm just going to have this thing make a song. And I was no, you are a musician. To use it to help you do your work, I think that's way different. I think that's, I have one that's an image upscaling app. So it doesn't create anything. It just helps if I have really low res old game art, which I have a lot of. If I just need
we do.
Yeah, just if I need a visual or something, I'm not selling the art or doing anything, nefarious with it. But I'm
exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, there are use cases for it.
Yeah. So I did that same sort of concept with the Breath of Fire 3 album and the Dark Cloud and the remastered Chrono Trigger stuff. So there's little bits of that sort of technique used throughout.
Well, I will say, I mean, this Breath of Fire one, this is kind of like you, Pat. Like, this was a soundtrack that I liked originally, like way back when, but I've appreciated it more and more over the years, and I really adore this rendition of it. It's not surprising or not like shocking when to say that the saxophone on this is fantastic, because of course it is. But
yeah, the sax across the entire Letters from Wyndia album is, I mean, if ever there was an OST that someone of your skill and like specialty should arrange, it is this album. Like, this fits so well.
Thank you.
And it makes me think Capcom missed their shot, because they've done jazz albums. They've done it a lot with the Ace Attorney series, but they really should have recorded like a live jazz album for Breath of Fire 3, and I don't think they ever will now. But y'all, you need to hear what Sean did here, because it's good. You think Island's good? This isn't even my favorite track on the album. I think it's a great arrangement, but there's just tons of great stuff here.
Yeah, everyone go petition Akari Kaida-san.
to get her to make an official album happen, or
yeah, or convince Capcom.
Oh, get her to convince Capcom. I don't know if she'd be able to.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm more happy with Capcom now than I was like about 10 years ago, but there's still a long list of things I would love for them to do more of. That would be one.
All things Breath of Fire is kind of there. I mean, that Breath of Fire 4 making it onto the whole like good old games preservation thing, like that's cool.
That's great, yeah.
And it'd be cool if they got the whole series. Like if they did a 1 through 5 on Steam, I'd buy it.
Oh yeah.
My dream is that they do something like the Pixel remaster for Breath of Fire.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, and then Capcom does Breath of Fire Pixel Remaster. Yeah, certainly for 1 through 4. I don't know what you would. 5 might need a different approach.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd even want anything different for 3. I would love to see Breath of Fire 1 and 2 in the style of 3. That'd be fun.
yeah, 1 and 2 do feel dated. Yeah, but 3 is kind of a really special experience.
Yeah,
having finally played through the whole thing recently. I only played a bit as a kid, and then I finished it maybe a year or two ago. I had it on my PlayStation Vita, and man, I really did enjoy it. It is a great game.
All right, we should probably go on. We have more music here.
Oh my gosh, we do have so much music.
We do. I want to throw one more of our questions out between our blocks.
Let's do it.
Game music in 2025. What have you listened to, Sean? Like, has anything stood out to you? What are some of your favorites? I have an idea.
Yeah, what new stuff are you running to?
Right now, my soul has been taken away by Fantasy Life I.
Oh yeah.
And the music in that is very well done, and I'm finding myself just sort of standing in one place and just listening to it for a little bit. And also something I didn't know, are you familiar with the game mechanics or whatever in Fantasy Life?
A little bit. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm strongly being convinced to.
So you have different jobs, and you can master each job.
Yep.
And when you master each job, you get a little sort of like concert or a little like celebration, and they play a song with lyrics for each job, and they're written by Uematsu.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that's from his the original Fantasy Life album that he recorded like a decade ago.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, I did not know that, and so
this game is like it's been long in the making, long coming. But yeah, those vocal tracks are Uematsu's. Yep.
Yeah, I saw that name pop up on the screen. I'm like, okay, that's why why I'm getting a vibe here.
Yeah, it's very nostalgic. He did this children's album called 10 Short Stories, And then shortly after that, he did those Fantasy Life vocal tracks. And I think there is a through line in sort of like where his head was musically in that time period. I really dig those tracks.
So I'm playing that a lot, and I just got done with like a 200-hour playthrough of Clair Obscur.
Okay.
Yeah, how are we? This is what I was hoping to hear about.
Yeah, me too.
What are your feelings about that Clair Obscur soundtrack?
Oh, it's genius. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they found the dude on SoundCloud, and like that sort of gives inspiration to all of us, smaller time people who are just like, here's a little bit of what I do, put it on SoundCloud, and then something like this happens, and it further cements your like drive to do better, to improve, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I really think that's true, and it is a very powerful story that, people who think, I'm just going to put this out there and maybe it goes nowhere. For some people, that is probably the case, sadly. But also you get stories like Lorient Testards, where it's just like, oh, some guy said, hey, do you want to work on my little indie project? And then the little indie project becomes, one of the best-selling games of the year with huge critical acclaim. And, a massive soundtrack. The vocals are awesome. And then did you hear I'm sure you noticed it because of how jazzy it is, the character theme for Monoko?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Now there's a jazzy track.
It's just it's really funny, the juxtaposition between everything else, which is very French Renaissance meets New Age with synths and everything, but then you have this, like, for the gestrels, just this like whimsical jazzy stuff. The juxtaposition there is really good.
Yeah, it is a very, very intentional and very unexpected choice when you first encounter it. And I think I think Monoko's theme especially is just like, whoa, like, so good.
Yeah. And I was getting for a lot of the soundtrack, getting a lot of Nier vibes.
A lot of people have said that. Yeah, especially because of the heavy vocals. Yeah,
the heavy vocals with the constructed language aspect, mixing in traditional French with either like Latin or just made up words. I'm a language nerd, by the way, so I geek out about this.
The linguistic stuff is really cool.
And so I do speak a little French, and so it was a little bit of a spoiler. I'm not going to say anything past that, but if you know French and listen to the music, you will probably get spoiled.
Oh no, I'm glad I don't.
Well, that just means anyone who is a native French speaker knows more about the game than the rest of us playing it.
Yeah, but they did
hearing the lyrics.
They did a thing where in like Act 2, the overworld theme has bits and pieces of French, again mixed with other elements. But then for Act 3, it's different sections of the lyrics are in French and the constructed language. And so when you put them together, you can fully translate everything into French.
And then you fully know what's being said. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's very clever. They do some clever stuff. I'm glad you not only played it, but it sounds like you really got into it. So that's awesome.
Oh yeah, I 100%ed it.
I was gonna say 200 hours. You probably went all achievements and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. New game +2 currently.
Nice.
Well, you were right. You were right, Pat. That was exactly what you were hoping we would talk about with this question.
Yes. Yeah. Fingers were crossed that's what would come up. Well, do we want to jump into our next block?
Yeah.
Mike, are we doing Chrono?
We are doing.
Is that what we're doing next?
We are doing Chrono, my beloved.
Yes.
I should have said this up front, but these are all songs that Sean selected. Like I said, any of these albums are good. Like I wanted you to pick, and you were kind enough to say, we can pick something else, but like these are all great. So I left the lineup as is. So we are going to go listen to Fields of Time from the jazz arranged version of Chrono Cross and Primitive Mountain from Remastered Chrono Trigger. So let's go take a listen, and then we'll come back with some thoughts.
Okay, so for Primitive Mountain, I wanted to throw in some tracks in here that either were composed by Uematsu, because I love the man to death, but also tracks that are a little bit less popular on the soundtrack than others. And so like this with like singing Mountain, which I don't think was even used in the game proper.
Right.
Yeah, it was an unreleased track. I think it did get used in the DS remake, but they found a place for it. But yeah, in the original, it was listed as an unused track.
Yeah, or like Underground Sewer, just like stuff that everyone loves, the main title theme, the battle themes and stuff like that, and so those are obviously present. But I wanted to. I like to do this for a lot of my albums, to just throw in some maybe less popular tracks just to sort of get them out there and have people listen to them and be like, I never gave this track the time of day back in the day. So basically I wanted to do that, and again, just get more people to listen to more music.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to give the spotlight to less celebrated songs, though. I think anyone who's played the game, when you hear it, you remember immediately. You're like, oh yeah, I remember where and when this plays, and it brings back all the memories. It's just, you're right that a track like Primitive Mountain isn't as celebrated as Title Theme or Secret of the Forest or Quarters of Time. Those songs tend to top the charts, but yeah, I think this was a really good selection. I also really like the approach on this one also, and I wanted to ask, we had talked about the use of AI with filling in percussion on Breath of Fire 3 for the island track. Did you do some of that with some of the percussion work here as well?
I did, because it's so percussion heavy.
Yeah.
And I don't own everything. Like
there's only so much you can do with the tools you have, or even with like you said, even with like V instruments, like the range there isn't always great for percussion.
Yeah, so that track uses a combination of live recorded stuff by me, native instruments, West Africa, as well as the generated stuff to fill everything out, and again, make it sound more authentic.
Mm-hmm. I think what you said, Pat, about remembered versus celebrated, I think that's important here, because like I definitely do remember the song. I will admit, not one of my favorites on the original. It's one of the only songs I don't really love most of the time, but I think it's more about a quantity thing. I think because I have so many memories of how long I've heard that loop when I was stuck in certain dungeons. Like, I played it a lot. I don't think it's a bad song, but it's not one of the ones I have the most fond memories of. So I'm really happy it's here, though, because that's exactly true, that it's not one of the more celebrated ones. But I really like what you did with it, because the difference in the instrumentation, I think, really changes the feel of it. It's a really interesting and inventive transformation for the song, and it made me appreciate it more than I ever have, because of just sounding different, and maybe because it's not looping in my head for like 6 hours too. But I was surprised to see it. It's not one you see a lot of times on arrangement albums for Chrono Trigger. So
right, and that I like bringing emphasis to that in a lot of my work. So also, I'm a huge Snarky Puppy fan, and so this is just an excuse to make a what if Snarky Puppy made video game music.
Now, for anyone listening, definitely not for me, who's very familiar with what Snarky Puppy is, but if anyone listening that isn't aware, what is that?
They are a it's hard to pin a genre on them, but the like jazz fusion.
Okay.
They're a big jazz fusion band, and they do a lot with mixing different genres together, and just the amount of virtuosity in their musicianship is amazing to watch and to listen. Everyone needs to go on YouTube, look at Lingus, Lingus, and you'll thank me later.
One of the other things I was going to say about Snarky Puppy is the virtuosity is certainly there. And I think with their virtuosity, and I think this is a subjective thing, because I hear this in Mozart and maybe some other people don't, but there sometimes in the way you present your music, there can be a sort of musical humor, like sort of a levity. And man, if there was a song where musical humor can come out just in the little details, I think Primitive Mountain, maybe more than most tracks on Chrono Trigger, has that opportunity. But I think you lose that when you listen to the compressed original version. But I mean, think about the bass line here, or the wow. Like, there are things you can do to make this fun. And again, I kind of want to use the word humorous. I don't know what you think there, but Sean, but that's something I've always liked about Snarky Puppy. Is there's something they're super impressive, but I also think they're not just fun, but like there's something funny. Like there's a musical joke here and there that you'll hear and you'll be like, aha, that's clever. I like that.
Yeah, and their enthusiasm comes through the music as well. Because like if you ever have seen videos of them, they're always just like they're grooving, they're having a good time. Kind of like any videos of Cassiopeia or T-Square. T-Square. Like, they're always having a good time, and you can hear in the music itself, even if you're not looking at them, that they enjoy what they do, and it comes across. And so I wanted to again kind of capture that and make this track sound fun. But it's like you brought up little jokes. For those of us classically inclined, in the video for Lingus, during the keyboard solo, he throws in like Debussy style planing, is keeping the intervals of the notes consistent, going up and down the keyboard for like a little 3-second little bit, and the drummer just puts his hand in his palm and just shakes his head. And I'm a theory nerd, and so I'm listening to that. Did he just do like Debussy planing? And then the dude puts his head in his hand. I'm like, yep, that's what he did.
Yeah, he did. That's funny.
I'll put a link for that song in our show notes too, so people can listen and watch.
Yeah, everyone check the show notes for that Snarky Puppy track. We want to get into Chrono Cross.
Yeah. Fields of Time. Again, this is one of the most celebrated of the soundtrack, and so I wanted to do it justice. I took inspiration from a lot of like Jeff Lorber. He's a big name in the jazz fusion scene's been around since I think 70s. I believe he's still putting out stuff under Jeff Lorber Fusion, but I could be wrong. But he has a penchant for creating tracks that have different like cultural elements to them. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what I incorporated here with like the Middle Eastern percussion, which is just native instruments, West Africa, or not West Africa, India. This one was more straightforward again because we have that formula pinned down. I just send things out to players and they send it back to me.
Yeah, I was interested in you self-selecting this one from the album. It's this. Well, I wrote about it in the album review. I really liked the song selection that you did with this whole album. I think the big surprise for me was Dragoons. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, Dragoons is kind of another one like Primitive Mountain, where it's like that's a deep cut for the fans.
Exactly.
And gosh, that arrangement just really, it's another one was like, to me, that was forgettable from the OST, but only because it's not celebrated as much. As soon as I heard it again, I was like, oh yeah, this song. This is also in that game. But yeah, Fields of Time, like, yeah, that is a more celebrated one. It's, it's sort of, as far as motif goes, it's a melodic theme that's found throughout some of the key songs throughout the entire game.
Also Chrono Trigger as well.
Yes. It, da, 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 da. Yeah, it's really quite quite a track to do an arrangement for, and I think sort of like the challenge of nailing down Dancing Mad. I think if I were in your shoes, I would feel pressure to land a track like Fields of Time and feel really good about it. So I know you said this type of arrangement is formulaic, a little easier to put together. How do you feel about the end product on Fields of Time?
Oh, this is where I live.
You feel good about this one?
Yeah, I feel good about this one.
Yeah,
and just the fact that I'm given that the like Jazz Arrange series is one of the first things that I ever did, and just have just been sort of working on it and improving it since. I have a good idea also with like the general music that I listen to, or the jazz and jazz fusion stuff, that I have an idea of what works and what doesn't. And so I'll combine the ideas that work, and I am rarely not happy with what I put out. I very rarely put things out that I wouldn't listen to myself, or that I didn't think was up to the standard of being commercially viable.
I mean, that's I really like hearing that. It's really easy for musicians or just creatives in general, of which I sometimes consider myself one. Like it's so easy to be like self-critical, or to be like, you did this thing and like, well, I like it. Like you hear it all the time. It's like, I liked it, and I could have done this better. And like, it's fine. But like, I think like it takes a lot of work, and like to really be like, no, you know what? I did good on this, and I accept that. So I enjoy hearing that. I'm glad you feel that way, because that's how I feel about this one too.
Yeah, and I'm a notorious perfectionist, and so I have to keep telling myself that no, not everything is going to be perfect. Once it's done, it's done. Get more people to listen to it before you release it, because your ears can't be trusted anymore.
True.
And so if everybody else, if they say, you want to get people that'll be honest with you too. And not be like, yeah, it sounds good. Just to sort
don't need a bunch of yes men.
Yeah. No, or like echo chamber stuff. But I want people to be brutally honest, and like, I will take notes, I will fix, and then get back to you. And then even if I still don't think it's perfect, like, if it's done, it's done. It's gonna be released. Nobody is perfect. Nobody, like, I'm sure even. Like Uematsu, Mitsuda, like they have tracks that would be like, this one sucks.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Well, I mean, if that's you telling us to be less positive on this episode, like we can be a little more critical for the last couple tracks.
Well, given that the albums are already out, there's nothing I can do at this point.
That's true. I
hate jazz music in general.
I can't help you. You need to go home. I really quickly though, on this track, I really love this. This was another great example of taking something that sounds familiar but not. That you gave this song such a like cool jazzy treatment, but it still has that familiarity and that soul of the original, while still having its own identity, and I was really happy with it. So I mean,
I wanted to sort of honor the composers in a way and not like completely rip up everything and put it back together. And so I'm just like, I want to keep the essence. I want to keep the feeling the same. Like if this played in game on the overworld in the home time, then it would feel at home. It would feel like it belongs.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's true. It would. So, I mean, this album is really like one of the main things that inspired me to be like, we should reach out and try to do this episode. So
yeah, this is such a strong album. I have,
thank you.
I have very positive feelings about this one. There's no question, and it makes me realize I need to dig deeper. I think the next thing I need to dig deep into is Letters from Wyndia. That one's growing on me as well. But anyway, yeah, I am glad that you're satisfied with your work on that one, because I do think, again, it's a challenging thing to take such a key theme and make it its own, but also at the same time not rearrange it to the point where it's like, wait, where's the melody? Like, you don't want to do that. And I think you properly state the melody, and you keep sort of the base structure of the piece alive, even as there's a lot of sort of cool improv stuff going on. I really do like the improv work all through this album too. Some of the other performers alongside your sax work, it's quite good.
Yeah, and early on, I would submit things to like OC Remix, and I would get the feedback back and be like, I love how formulaic they are when they're like, at least 50% of the track has to have the theme or something like that. It was, I can't remember the guidelines off the top of my head. But I would get things sort of soft rejected because of that. And I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And so I took that to heart a little bit and, made these arrangements have a little bit more theme to them, so they're recognizable and not just like fully improv or something like that.
Right. You want to be able to, people should be able to listen to the song and know what it is without looking at the track, if they know the original version, without looking at the track title. Yeah. I think you achieved that across the entire Chrono Cross jazz album.
All right, we have one more block of songs today. I know I've been introducing them, but I'll still introduce these, but I feel like we're going to be talking about the last one a bit. So, all right, so our last block today, again, pretending that we don't have a bonus track at the end. I think we used to call those a secret track, but now it's like, it's not a secret. So I just call them bonus. But our last official block today, we are going to have Matataki Village from your recent Dark Cloud album, and Distant Thunder, which is a Secret of Mana track from an album called Remembrance, also released last fall, which I know there's a story behind that. So we will definitely talk about that. So let's go listen to Matataki Village and Distant Thunder.
for Dark Cloud, it was one of the first games that I got when the PS2 came out. I remember my parents got me a PS2 for Christmas, along with the launch title Final Fantasy X, which I played into the ground. And then I can't remember how long after that Dark Cloud came out, but I remember loving the like city builder simulator aspect of it with the dungeon crawling and obviously the soundtrack. Each, track for each area just fit, and it was it sounded like it was natural. Every track seemed to belong, and a lot of these tracks just stuck with me throughout the years, and occasionally I'll do a replay of Dark Cloud and sometimes Dark Cloud 2, but 2 doesn't really hold the same, I guess, nostalgia for me than that Dark Cloud did. And also, it's one of those that a lot of people maybe either don't know about or forgot about, and so sort of rekindling their interest for this game, or at least its soundtrack.
Yeah, for me, the first one is the one I have not played. I admit at the time all I remember at the time, like reading about it and hearing about it, was you either heard that it was a quote Zelda killer, thanks to certain magazine covers, which really made no sense. Or I kept hearing that it was fine. I'm like, so like, I just never got around to it, but I've always wanted to go back to it because once I played the second one, that is one of my favorite PS2 games. Absolutely love it. So if there's similar stuff in the first one, I guess I should give the first one a chance too.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. But this piece is so good. It's because I'm not as familiar with this one, even the music, like I am with the second, I did go and listen to the original version of this track first, and it's also good. I mean, it's fun, but I love what you did with it. It's softer and warmer. It really, really gives me this great, like, laid back mountain village. I don't know if it's actually a mountain village kind of vibe.
Forest village.
Okay, that works too. It's still breezy and cozy. So yeah, I think that's. Again, it's one of those ones where like I recognize the melody. Of course, it's very clear that it's this song. Like you didn't wholesale change it, but it's like it just adds something that the feel of it is really welcoming. So I like how you did that.
And because this is part of the Remastered series, I wanted to keep it obviously intact and not really change much in regards to melodies or song structure, as opposed to the jazz stuff or things that I can be a little bit more freer with. So I wanted to keep this and its essence sort of intact.
Yeah, and I think you really did so. I remember importing this OST like right when it came out because I think it was a big deal being, an early PS2 title, and I didn't quite know, I think when I was in high school or my first year of college, whenever this was, I didn't know quite what to make of the music I was hearing. Like I thought it was good, but I also feel like, especially compared to Dark Cloud 2, or Dark Chronicle, as it was called in Japan. I think that album was more noticed, more celebrated, and I think I like that one a lot more. But Dark Cloud, on its own, sort of has hints of greatness within it that I feel like you are really sort of bringing to the forefront with this remaster. It's definitely enhanced my appreciation for the Dark Cloud source material. And I think, Mike, what you said about this being sort of like a good, chill, breezy village theme. I also think this is one of the better tracks from the OST. but I think it's even more enjoyable, more engageable in this form. So I really like what you did with it on this one, Sean. I hope the listeners appreciate it as well.
Yeah, and I want to say too just how eclectic the soundtrack is. So like you'll have something like this where it's like, breezy acoustic, then you'll have Queens, which is like a little bit more like Latin influenced, or you'll have the Divine Beast Cave, which is like flamenco style. It's very eclectic, and I think that that kind of goes toward its merit and the versatility of the composer as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, I'm definitely going to give that soundtrack another listen then. Yours and the original. Okay, I guess that brings us to our last track if we're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about the song? You want to talk about the story behind the album a little bit? Whatever you want to do.
So, Distant Thunder, Secret of Mana was one of the tracks, or one of the games that I played with my dad. I don't know if you guys are old enough to know what a Curtis Mathis television was.
I think I'm old enough, but we didn't have one of those, so no. Go ahead and explain.
I don't know that name at all, actually.
We were fortunate to have, like, at the time, I think it was like a 35, 37 inch square Curtis Mathis tube television.
Oh.
And we would, play games on that all the time. Hook up the Super Nintendo, and that was my first experience with Secret of Mana. And as a kid, like, that game's hard when you're a kid. But again, I was always very interested in the music. The music from these RPGs is kind of just what made me get into this in the first place. And so my dad and I would, sit in front of the television before, of course, the tube decided to burn out, and they're so expensive that you just never replaced it. But yeah, this was one of with it being one of the most celebrated tracks of the soundtrack. It also just stuck with me because we would be in the area in which it plays for a while. And so it gets stuck in your head. I never really got tired of it. And it reminds me of my dad. It's coming up in August. It'll be a year already. Holy crap. That he died of complications from COPD. He's a lifelong smoker. And so I kind of wanted to highlight games that either we played together or I was introduced to because of him. He was always one that back in the day would go to the arcades and spend all day playing Pac-Man, Galaga, Space Invaders. In the house, we had a Atari, a Commodore 64, a Nintendo, Super Nintendo. So we were a gaming family for the most part, and so I wanted to highlight games that we played together again, or I was introduced to because of him. So there are there are games on this album that maybe people haven't heard of and will go check out, or they know of them and will be like, holy crap, I didn't know anybody else knew about this game or this music. And so that's a good chunk of, sort of where I live as a, cover artist. I want to bring to light these things.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking like in the off-air segment about Gemfire. I think that's definitely the one that would surprise most people listening to this. And even honestly, at this point in 2025, I would think, Brigandine got that remaster, so it's a little less obscure, but only a little. And
I think Brigandine is still pretty obscure. A lot of people don't know the name.
Yeah.
But I'm so psyched to see it on here. This album is I don't know, conceptually it's really powerful to me. I'm really glad that you made this album, Sean, for a lot of reasons. I think it's based on the story you shared. It's very palpable when we, have shared memories or are inspired to pursue something we love because of someone we love. I think that's really important. And so, this whole album is really very interesting to me. And I'm really glad you made it. And yeah, Mike, like you said, prior to recording this, I didn't know what the name Gemfire was. I know what it is now, which is cool. But yeah, a lot of range on this album as well. I mean, the approach you took with this Secretive Mana track is so good. Though I think it's definitely, this is one of those tracks that you can have a lot of fun with. There's so many directions you can take it, and I've heard a lot of great arrangements of this one, of course. But yeah, just on the break, I heard you just did like a wailing, butt-kicking, awesome version of the battle theme from Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. It's short, simple, and it's glorious. Everyone needs to check that one out. That's also like, this seems like a really cool album to just enjoy, and I think maybe a lot of people of our similar age range that were sort of around in the sort of from NES to PlayStation 1, that sort of age range. There's a lot to love here.
Yeah. Also that track from Mystic Quest is also in memory of Daniel Woodire, also known as Pirate Crab, who did a whole bunch of remixes for community albums back in the day, and we were planning on doing a whole album of like battle theme music and stuff. And so like he was a really, really great guy and holy crap guitarist. And so like, yeah, he's featured on that, as well as the track from Tactics, the Trisection. Yeah. And so this is also an opportunity to also remember him as well.
Well, I'm really glad you did this album. This was, I know I keep referencing the fact that we were talking about this last fall, but like when you released this one, I was like, I don't feel like this one is getting as much traction as I would like. I didn't know about it until after, probably weeks after it was released. And then, we were looking earlier too, like it's not listed on VGMDB for some reason. So I think it's a really beautiful thing that you did and put together. The cover art also on this one is great. So it's a really,
seeing the TV there.
Yeah.
With Final Fantasy juxtaposed onto it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but also the type of TV you're talking about, sort of the glow of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Final Fantasy was also one of the first games that I ever played, period. And so, getting into RPG music that way. So like the first 3 games that I ever played were with my dad, and they were Final Fantasy, Destiny of an Emperor, and Wizardry: Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay.
The original.
The original. I think the original was on the Apple II.
Yeah. So were you playing the NES port?
Yeah, we were playing the NES port.
So it would have had like the music from Kentaro Haneda then?
Yes. And we had complete with graph paper, making our own maps.
Yeah, back in the day, you weren't going to make it without that graph paper.
No, and then flash forward to the future, you have stuff like Etrian Odyssey, and it's like, you mean we get to have a map?
But you still you can fill it out manually, like
Yes.
it was on graph paper. That's what I love about Etrian Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. Like, thank you for making this album, for sharing that story with everyone. So obviously, Distant Thunder, great. I mean, it's Secret of Mana. Like, it's a fantastic game. I mean, especially as a co-op game. I mean, honestly, I think it's just. I can't play that game not co-op. Like, for me, it's meant to be a co-op game because I always played it with my brother. So I love that is represented on here. So anyone listening,
it's kind of like Crystal Chronicles in a way.
Yeah. So anyone listening, like, definitely go check out this album for sure. There are so many great. I almost said gems, but that felt too on the nose with Gemfire. But a lot of great music on here. A complete aside, if you or anyone is interested, I gotta say, I think you can get a demo of this. There's a retro style game coming out called Shrine's Legacy. I played a demo of it at PAX, and it's one of the first retro style games I've played ever that actually seems to capture that co-op experience of Secret of Mana.
Nice.
I'm really excited.
That's exciting.
It. Yeah,
that's cool. I also want to add, we were saying this album, Remembrance, wasn't on VGMD. By the time this episode airs, it will most definitely be on VGMDB. That is my task for the evening. I like to keep VGMDB up to date.
Okay, so anyone listening to this, if they look at the show notes first, there will already be a link.
The link will be there.
And they'll be like, what is he talking about? It's right there. But it's there because of you, Pat.
At time of recording, it somehow fell under the radar, but we're getting it up there. Yeah, definitely. Hey, Mike, before we wrap up, I really wanted to ask Sean about the state of game music publication.
We can. Actually, I should.
Would you be cool with that, Sean?
Sure.
Yeah, it's just, in the last, you yourself were talking about, the like the era of like early OC remix days, and how things have changed over time, how we've been able to more easily, handle licensure and royalties so people can legally publish music, and there's no issues with rights holders. It's all covered. And I think there's good and bad, and also a lot of maybe a bit of confusion there. I know sometimes like you'll be on iTunes and like there'll be like knockoff OSTs of OSTs, or like Spotify has a lot of that. Like people other than the artist are uploading it and like trying to get money off of it. And so it feels kind of Wild West-y again, even though like I was like, well, we're post Napster. Like I thought digital music, we had a hold on this, and now it just I get overwhelmed just trying to keep track of it. I'm wondering from an artist's perspective, from your perspective, how do you feel about publishing the kind of music you publish? Maybe your thoughts on how, different organizations do it, whether it's, publishers who also publish the games, for example, Square Enix or Atlas, and then other sort of like third-party arranged groups, and then also what you're doing. Like, what are your thoughts on how things are going there? I would just like to get a take from you because you're in the thick of it, which is also a reference to Secret of Mana.
Very nice.
Good segue there.
Oh, thank you.
I think for artists, it's becoming a little bit. I speak from a cover artist perspective. It's getting a little bit more difficult to find out what is licensable and what is not, because a lot of the times you need to submit a link to either Apple Music or Spotify to a US release. And for some of the games that the soundtracks were never released in the US, but there are tracks on Spotify, then it's kind of like a gray area where it's like, well, it's on Spotify, but it's not from the original publisher. And so like, how did they do it? Like what distributor did they go through? And that also tells me that distributor probably doesn't do their due diligence in seeing what tracks are licensable and getting the applicable mechanical licenses applied. On the other hand, a lot of tracks from the original publishers are now becoming available on streaming platforms, which is fantastic. So now I'm able to release tracks from games that I didn't think that I was going to be able to. Although I'm still waiting for Wild Arms, the original, or no, Wild Arms 3. I'm still waiting for that because I think 2 is on Spotify, or 1 and 2, but not 3 for some reason.
Well, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we need to contact Michiko Naruke, or is this a Sony issue? Probably a Sony issue.
Yeah, maybe because some of the other soundtracks are on there and just not 3. And I have an album ready to go. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
A Wild Arms album, huh?
Wild Arms 3, yeah.
That's an interesting side of old or new or whatever game music being available now. Like when Atlas and Sega have been really good about it, like putting all of their stuff out there in the last several years. And usually we look at it, it's like, oh cool, like we can listen to it now, but it's like it also allows people like you to do stuff with it yourself. I think I've heard in the past, because Link's Awakening like never got an album release until that remaster. So I think Link's Awakening fan music was tricky because of that, because there wasn't something published. So
yeah, or like on the Remembrance album, the stuff from Gemfire, I'm honestly surprised that went through. I mean, way back in the day, Joypad Records cleared it for my underrated edition video game music album, and so I'm assuming that they were able to get that same.
Right, since they had already cleared it once, it was
the
precedent existed. Yeah, that's complicated.
Yeah, I know that album. I like them.
Yeah, so throwback to Joypad Records.
Yeah, back in the day, I liked the whole. There was Joypad and Louder and all that. Yeah, but it's it all sort of fell to the wayside. I did want to ask you also. I know like self-publishing is generally what you do now. One thing I was thinking about though was like, like Scarlet Moon, Jason Napolitano's crew. There's that duo, Gentle Love.
Yeah.
Norihiko Hibino on sax and Ayaki on piano. They're doing, these cover arrange albums all the time, and we definitely have enjoyed those over the years. But they'll also occasionally, either as Gentle Love or one or the other individually, end up on like an official, arrange album that Falcom or Square Enix or Atlas or something like that did. I imagine through contacts, or in Hibino's case, he's also, done composer work, like he worked on Metal Gear Solid 3. Do you ever hope to or aspire to like collaborate with any of the big wigs, either in Japan or North America or Europe?
Oh yeah, that's kind of been the dream.
Oh wow.
Is sort of like do what they did with Pixel Remaster, and it's like, hey, here's a FF6, or here's a Final Fantasy 4 or something. It's like, here's the entire soundtrack remastered, and that's my bread and butter. That's what I do.
Yeah. So that's That's our big wink, wink, nudge, nudge to publishers out there, as there is need for these classics getting revitalized, whether you're HD 2Ding them or whatever you're doing to get them out on the Switch 2 or whatever you got publishing it, and you need a little musical upgrade, or you want to do like a commemorative arrange album. Don't forget about our man Sean, who's killing it over here, not just with the jazz, but with some really detailed stuff. Which I also wanted to say, if people want to hear your sort of non-jazz chops and sort of technical heavy arrangement, everyone's got to listen to that Near Chamberworks album. And I think I've probably said this to you before on like Facebook Messenger. More Chamberworks, please.
Yep, those are in the works. Near Reincarnation, Octopath Traveler, the first one.
Yes, that one definitely. Oh, yeah. You can easily do some incredible stuff with that source material.
Yeah, and the Chamberworks stuff obviously takes a lot more brain power, and
like I said, it is a lot more technical. But I think what you do with Nier is one of probably. I think it tops. I said earlier the jazz albums you did were on par with what Square Enix has put out, but I think your Chamberworks album is I prefer it to the Near piano collections. I'll just say it.
Thank you. That means a lot.
And I think people know how much I love their piano solo work, but I think what you were doing with piano and strings was just like, whoo, whole nother level.
Yeah, I like. It's the props to learning about minimalism, post-minimalism score study with a lot of Steve Reich scores, Terry Riley, a lot of these minimalism composers, Arvo Pärt.
Yeah, I think I just think it is impressive. I think it's challenging. I think there's a lot of good people doing good arrangement work out there, but I think that sort of particular approach is underrepresented. And I think it is some of the most impressive stuff that you can do. I think the closest thing out there to your Chamberworks music would be like Square Enix's acoustic arrangement series. It's not quite the same. That's a little more lively.
Yeah, or Disco Cactus.
Oh yeah.
With Ben and Doug and all of them, classically trained musicians make the best music.
Yeah, they really bring it. But I think there was something really special about that Chambers work. So this is me gently pressuring you to make a whole bunch more of it, because I think it's been some of your most impressive stuff.
Well, thank you. Yeah,
I like that you're pressuring him, even though he already said he's working on more.
It's like, yeah, I got like 3 coming,
I'm working
man.
on it. I got
it. Not good enough. Do it now, Sean.
Yeah. let me go work on it. Okay.
On stream, on podcast. We're gonna work on it right now.
Yeah. All right. Well, we should probably wrap up soon so we can go send an email to Koei Tecmo about remastering Gemfire and hiring you for it.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Pat, for this great episode. A lot of great, oh boy, I'm overdoing great. A lot of excellent music, good conversation. I enjoyed it. I hope everyone listening enjoyed it as well and goes and checks out all of this music. So we're going to do our wrap up here and, of course, our non-secret bonus track at the end. But on this episode, most of these games you have heard on Rhythm Encounter before, but believe it or not, there was still one that was a debut, and this was the first time we ever had music from the first Dark Cloud. So that is exciting. That was it. That was our only debut. Coming up next on Rhythm Encounter, if you've been following the show the last month or two, I realize our schedule has been a little out of whack. So I might have said this before, but really this time, the next episode after this is about Wild Arms. That's the series in general. So we're allowing people to pick from any Wild Arms game all 5 numbered ones, Crossfire, and maybe the mobile one if anyone wants to. But yeah, look for Wild Arms music coming soon. If you have thoughts on this episode, if you want to, share your feedback, you can reach the show and me at music@rpgfan.com. And what's the best way for people to reach you, Pat?
Oh, I suppose my email address is the easiest. That's pgann@rpgfan.com, PGANN. I'm also pretty active on both Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me there as Gameadactyl. That's game, the letter O, and then dactyl. Good luck with that.
All right. And Sean, as our special guest, if you want to give a contact, social media, website links, like whatever it is you would like to share here, we are open to it. So go for it.
Yeah. Best way to get in contact is through email at it's just my name.com, SeanSchafianski.com. Or SeanSchafianski@gmail.com. My website, just myname.com, has links to work if you want to check out more stuff, or if you have a project that you would like me to join, you can see like my services and stuff that I offer. And my YouTube is SSCHAFI1, or you can just search for my name on YouTube, Spotify, Bandcamp, all that good stuff.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you. If you enjoyed Rhythm Encounter, as always, we are not the only podcast on the RPG Fan Podcast Network. We also have Random Encounter and Retro Encounter. And as I mentioned, our schedule has been a little wacky. So when this goes up, I don't know exactly what Random Encounter and Retro Encounter will have. We're recording this one farther in advance than usual. But they're going to be good, so it really doesn't matter what they are. I will still encourage you to go listen to Random Encounter, which posts roughly every other Monday, opposite Rhythm Encounter, or at least opposite when Rhythm Encounter is supposed to post, while Retro Encounter posts every other Thursday. So be sure to check both of those out. You can find RPG Fan on most social media, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and so on, as RPG Fan or RPG Fan.com. We have links in our show notes. You can find us on our website, of course, at rpgfan.com, where you'll also find our shop. You can find RPG Fan merch. We actually have a new designed shop. Same merch, but it's a little sleeker now, a little cleaner than our old one. So you can still get your RPG Fan mugs and shirts and whatnot, along with our review card collection book with Hyperplay RPG. So all of that is at rpgfan.com/shop. And if you enjoyed this episode, we would love it if you could review, subscribe, rate, whatever it is you can do to show your support wherever it is you get your podcasts. We would appreciate it. And that's it. We're going to close out with a bonus track, unsurprisingly, from our special guest today, which is a sneak peek at an upcoming project. So, Sean, what is our bonus track that you're letting us listen to?
So this track is from Dynasty Warriors 4, one of my favorite franchises of hack and slash games. It's great to sit down, turn your brain off. This is coming out on June 29. And this track is Gain Ground from Dynasty Warriors 4.
Awesome. All right. We're going to leave you with Gain Ground from Dynasty Warriors 4. Again, Pat and Sean especially, thank you for being here. I had a lot of fun. So we will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Yay!
Cue the bum 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 bum
Yeah.
bum.
Yeah,
Hell
actually,
yeah,
I guess
brother.
not that it really matters, but I guess maybe we'll do Chrono Trigger first, just to be chronological.
To be chronological, yeah.
Yeah.